What if being your authentic self at work isn't helping, but actually hurting your career? Does showing vulnerability inspire trust, or quietly erode authority? And finally, is there a place for being yourself in the sanitized corporate world? My name is Jafar, and this is the HR Diary. In recent times, we've seen growing pushback against the idea of bringing your true self to work. From Pompouras, former US Secret Service agent, challenging the idea on the diary of a CEO, to researcher Tomas Chamorro-Premuzic, author of Don't Be Yourself, Why Authenticity is Overrated. The pushback isn't random. Authenticity has become one of the most misunderstood ideas in modern leadership, so today, let's unpack how we got here. I value the time we spent together, so here's the outline of today's episode. Origins of authenticity in corporate world, the romance between ideas and their counterforces, and the prism metaphor. If you enjoy these conversations, subscribe and click the like button. It helps HRD grow and reach wider audience. Also, drop a comment on what topics you'd like to see unpacked in the next episodes. Chapter 1. The origins of authenticity in the corporate world. It is fascinating to see how ideas emerge and shape our surroundings. The roots of authenticity go back to psychologist Carl Rogers, who in the 1950s introduced the concept of congruence. It's the belief that we function best when our inner self matches our lived experience. Fast forward to the early 2000s. The corporate world embraced authenticity, but not out of goodwill, out of necessity. After the Enron scandal, when one of the world's most admired companies collapsed for hiding massive debt, thousands lost their jobs and public trust in business leaders evaporated. In the aftermath, there was a hunger for integrity. Bill George, former CEO of Medtronic, captured that sentiment in his 2003 book Authentic Leadership, practically turning being yourself into a leadership ideal. But over time, authenticity got blended with positivity, self-care, happiness. The corporate world rebranded it into broader well-being movement. Later, after the murder of George Floyd, diversity, equity, and inclusion took center stage. While DEI premises have been scientifically proven to create better workplaces and lead to stronger business outcomes, many organizations implemented mandatory trainings as a knee-jerk reaction to public pressure. This, in turn, led to DEI fatigue, not because the premise was wrong, but because performative implementation cheapened genuine intent. In the past few years, the pendulum swung again. The backlash against woke corporate culture blurred the lines between empty gestures and genuine reform. Authenticity, well-being, DEI, everything got tossed into the same box and dismissed together. It was sad to see because what began as a movement for integrity ended up as another corporate cliché. Chapter 2. The romance between ideas and their counterforces. But rather than digging my heels, I see this backlash as an opportunity to learn. Every strong idea eventually meets its counterforce. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. The friction between the two exposes blind spots on both sides, and that's where progress happens. So, at this point, it's worth asking, if authenticity started as a positive force, why is it now under fire? Because poorly defined authenticity led to odd situations. Many took it at a face value as license to say whatever's on your mind, regardless of context. Being true to oneself became, in some cases, a justification for unfiltered or unprofessional behavior. Here are just several ways authenticity can misfire. Sharing political views can seem reckless or polarizing. Venting raw emotion can appear volatile or unprofessional. Practicing radical candor without tact can come across as insensitive. Oversharing personal struggles can erode confidence in competence. And showing vulnerability in the wrong way or at the wrong time can backfire. Take one example. When a leader admits they don't have the answer and stops there, it weakens confidence. But if they follow with conviction that the team can find the solution, that same admission becomes galvanizing. So, paradoxically, if authenticity causes so much damage, why do I still believe it is essential? Chapter 3. The prism metaphor. Think of authenticity like a light passing through a prism. Who we are inside, our values, strengths, mission, is that single pure beam. When it meets the world around us, the culture we work in, the environment, the situational context, that beam changes shape. It spreads into colors, each one part of the same light but showing a different shade depending on the angle. Authenticity isn't about staying one fixed color in this metaphor. It's about letting the same light take form in ways that fit the context without losing its source. Let's play it again. It starts with self-awareness. It's almost as if you have a first column over here and you need to understand your values, strengths, and mission. Then, external conditions and forces come into play: culture, environment, situational contexts. Those, in turn, shape how your inner truths are expressed. In the end, it results in authentic behavior, and it will be different at home and it will be different at work. Let's go through this together once again. I personally did a deep soul search back in 2019 to capture my values and guiding principles. My core values are curiosity, integrity, and grit. My mission is to shape better organizations. That's the short version, not the fancy one. So how does it play out? Let's take a specific example. A few years back, I had to run a tough internal investigation. One of our senior leaders, a high performer on the business side, was accused of sexual harassment at the company event. What became clear very quickly was that alcohol played a huge role, and not by accident. That organization had long normalized heavy drinking. It was part of the culture shaped by previous leaders who not only tolerated it, but encouraged it. When I finished my report, I presented the findings to my manager and to their boss. In the report, I wrote that the responsibility for creating that kind of culture didn't start with the accused. It went back years to the leadership that came before. What I also knew was that my manager's boss used to lead that very organization. Still, I stood by the findings. It wasn't an easy meeting, but after it, my manager told me something that stuck with me ever since. One of the best compliments I have ever received. You're the kind of person I would buy a used car from. Let me share a lighter example. No matter what is happening outside of work, even if my favorite team Real Madrid just lost El Clásico or things got heated at home, when I sit down with an employee for an important conversation, I reset. I leave my own noise at the door. That's not inauthentic, it's intentional. Authenticity doesn't mean bringing every emotion into every room. It means acting in a way that's loyal to your values and using your strengths in service of your mission. So it's not about unfiltered expression. It's about alignment between who you are, what you value, and what the moment demands. And you know what? I really understand the backlash. I think that a solid idea got reduced to sound bites, recycled across thousands of hundreds of LinkedIn posts and flattened to how-to articles. What began as a call for depth turned into another management fad. But authenticity was never about being raw. It's about being real. It's not permission to unload. It's the discipline of staying aligned with your values, strengths, and mission, especially when the context keeps shifting. If you found this useful, subscribe and leave a like. It helps HRD reach more people who care about making work better. And share in the comments what themes you would like to see explored next. Stay curious, HR out.